We're gonna have a couple of remarks from our sponsor, Clark University's Graduate School of Management. Our editor, Rick Say, is gonna come up and introduce the panel and bring them up to these fine leather chairs. And we'll have about a 45-minute conversation about leadership. Some of the questions will start with Catherine and the panel, and then we'll hopefully have a window where a couple can come from the audience. We will then experience the feeling that says, wow, this is a great conversation, and I come up and interrupt it and go, it's time to get into the awards ceremony, and then we'll sort of do the presentation of the awards. And when that's done, those doors will magically open up, and there'll be food and drink and other benefits of you staying here, and there'll be a chance to network and chat with folks. So that's the drill. Looking forward to it. So I want to certainly thank both our presenting sponsor, Clark University's Graduate School of Management, and our supporting sponsor, who is the Fallon Community Health Plan, for their support and their efforts in helping make this event happen. And for some welcome remarks, I'd like to invite up Dean Catherine Yusof from the Clark University's Graduate School of Management. Catherine.
Your colleagues from your organizations, your family members and friends, Worcester area business professionals, and students. Students that we've brought with us here from Clark University Graduate School of Management, and there may be some other students from other colleges in the area. It's really such a pleasure to be a part of this happy occasion. And as a dean of a school of management, I think a lot about leadership, and I think about what it means to be a great leader, how we teach our students to be good leaders, and I was really impressed when I saw the videos about the leaders who are being honored here today. And there are some things that stood out to me from watching those videos, and a couple of things were values and community and vision. And so I was watching the videos about all four of these leaders, and I could see that those three things were really prominent in learning about those leaders and seeing how they had led their organizations and done a wonderful job, not just in terms of success, but really in terms of supporting their people and making each of these organizations a great place to work. And you could hear it in the voices of the people in the videos. And so we have this great opportunity this afternoon to hear from these leaders and to hear about some of their values and maybe some of their vision and to learn from them. So I'm really excited about that. And after the formal part of the program, I hope that you'll take the opportunity to congratulate them, to thank them for their leadership, and for really trying to make this surrounding community a great place for people to work and contribute. I hope that you will take the opportunity too to talk to some of our students. You will see them around interacting, networking, really trying to learn. And I think one of the things that you'll see as a hallmark of our Clark students is that they are very eager to learn outside the classroom. And so they will be interacting with you. We have some common interests, perhaps with world energy, because we have students who are studying sustainability. Certainly with Alternatives Unlimited, because we have some students studying social change. So they'll be very interested to speak to all of you, but I think in particular they'll find some great common interests with some of you. So again, I want to welcome you. I hope you enjoyed the discussion, and congratulations again to our business leaders of the year.
Hi, I'm Rick Saya, the editor of the Worcester Business Journal. Good afternoon, and it's great to see all of you. It's a great honor for me to be a part of the Worcester Business Journal's annual celebration of excellence in leadership. At no other time do we gather such impressive leaders in our business community to share their stories and insights about what makes a great leader and a great business. Leadership is one of those terms that doesn't have an easy definition. For me, I admire leaders who have a strong vision, who display the intensity it requires, and who can display a good sense of humor. Case in point, the first coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, John McKay, he led a franchise to just one win short of a Super Bowl appearance in its fourth season. One day, his team lost, and I don't mean lost. They had a big problem moving the ball downfield. So now, football coaches who lose games have a tendency to be a bit curt in their post-game meetings with the press. But after this one game, John McKay was asked what he thought about the execution of his offense, and without hesitation and with a smile on his face, he answered, "I'm all for it." Editors like words that have two different meanings, and I like that one. So with that, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on these awards and how we select our honorees. First, we solicit nominations from the community primarily through promotion in the WBJ Daily Report, our free email newsletter. We also have a running list of noteworthy leaders that we've compiled over the years. For the big business, small business, and nonprofit business leaders of the year, we review the accomplishments of the nominees for the given year and judge them based on their leadership, the company's financial performance, their focus on the community, and whether they have a compelling story to share with our readers. While we take input from the business community through this process, the final selections of these three awards are made internally by the leaders at the Worcester Business Journal. The process for the Corporate Citizen Award is slightly different. We seek nominations for this award, but we require companies to complete a detailed application in order to be considered. Then we, along with Clark's Graduate School of Management, judge the applicants, and we judge the applicants based on ethics, governance, community, workplace, and concern for the environment. Each year, we aim to bring together a strong group of honorees and also work to tell their stories through our print product as well as at this event. So once again, we're honored to bring these leaders together and look forward to hearing from them today. And now to introduce our honorees. First, we have Phil Adams, President and CEO of World Energy Solutions in Worcester, our Small Business Leader of the Year. Phil, please come up, take your seat. Next, we have Dennis Rice, Executive Director of Alternatives Unlimited in Whitensville, our Nonprofit Business Leader of the Year. Our large business leader of the year, Chris Kanakaratna of Virtusa, could not be with us today, but representing him is his CFO, Ranjan Kalia. And finally, we have Charles Monahan, President of MCPHS University, formerly Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Had to make sure I get the letters correct. MCPHS is our Corporate Citizen of the Year award winner. He's president. And here's the format for the panel discussion. Dean Yusof will ask general questions of each of our honorees, as well as some specific questions for each of them. We'll break at about 5:15, 5:20 or so for questions from the audience, so please think of questions as the discussion progresses. And now I yield the microphone back to Dean Yusof.
Thank you very much. So thank you for agreeing to do this, and I really am looking forward to this discussion. So I'm going to start with Dennis. And Dennis, I have a question for you as a leader of a nonprofit organization. And we know that nonprofits, by definition, have less resources than for-profit organizations and probably a lower pay scale. And so I wonder if you could talk about some ways that you're able to motivate your employees when you don't necessarily have some of the monetary resources that larger and for-profit companies have.
You talked about a sense of humor. Let me just start out by saying, where's Johnny? I got it. Oh, thank you. Let me just mention a little bit about alternatives. We provide a variety of services to people with disability, many of whom with a significant disability, and many of whom have, been in unjustly put in institutions for many years. So it's what we try to do is to provide, our staff with a variety of things. I mean, we have a generous vacation. We have a very good benefit package. We have tuition reimbursement. But the fact is that our salaries are low. And the reason they're low is that the state contracts that we haven't had a rate increase for over 20 years. So people don't, that isn't why people work there. They work there because the work that we do at Alternatives is honorable. That they are taking care of the most significantly vulnerable citizens of the Commonwealth. And what we try to do is to teach the staff, a human technology that can help them, relate better, teach better, develop community connections better. It's not that we want them to work harder, we want them to work smarter. And we call this the gift of significance, that we are basically giving the staff the opportunity to be a significant force in somebody else's life. So it's not all about money, but it is all about meaning.
Thank you. Ranjan, one of the things that we noticed in the staff at your company is that you have a large percentage of staff who are very young. And also, you're in a very competitive market for top IT talent. So why do you think IT professionals choose to work for your company in particular?
So actually, it's a great question. I mean, it's a question that a lot of times we get exact same question asked by a lot of our investors who want to, since Virtusa is a public company, want to invest in it. And, we really believe it's really at the heart of the type of work that we do. And the work that we do is very transformational in nature. I mean, think of a Virtusa, we're still really, even though we're talking over here, Virtusa is a large company, we still believe ourselves are a very small entrepreneurial company. The type of work that we do is very transformational for our clients. We're really, if you think of it, Virtusa, probably in the last 18 months, developed a net deposit feature for a large client of ours, and you can scan a check from an iPhone and deposit it. A new graduate student who's going to get a chance to work on something like that, he's so excited about it. And that's what we find in all focus interviews that we do, either campus interviews, exit interviews. That's the one thing that continues to come. If I come to Virtusa, I'm really working on very exciting transformational projects. I'm really actually solving a business problem for our client. I go in there, I see the business problem on day 1, and on day 30, day 60, day 90, I get that satisfaction that I've solved a piece of it. That continues to be our resonating factor, why we believe we can continue to attract top talent. And this is, also starting to, we're starting to get a lot of traction in a lot of the large geographies that we work in. We being recognized now as a employer of choice in most of our large geographies, namely it's US, UK, India, Sri Lanka. And we feel like the type of the work that we do is starting to resonate through our client base, through our employee base, out in third-party recognitions too.
Thank you. Philip, since taking over as CEO from the founder of the company, I know you've been with the company for a long while, but you're in a new role. And I'm wondering what has been your biggest leadership challenge since taking on that new role?
I think it's twofold. I'd say the first challenge is finding my leadership voice. I was COO of the company, so necessarily I was more inside, more managing things. But now as CEO, you realize the buck stops with you. There's 125 families counting on the company providing paychecks. And by the way, I love the deposit thing. I use it all the time. And so there's a sense that...
Not enough of clients, Brian.
Yeah, there's a sense, though, that I had to let go of the things that were really in my wheelhouse. I was really very good at being a COO and looking at the numbers and the detail, and I needed to step back for two reasons. One, to allow my management team to take more of that on so they could grow, but also so I could be freed up to do those more inspirational leadership things. We had an event just down in Florida early this month for our quota achievers, the President's Club. If you made your sales quota, you got to go on this trip, and also our top performers in other functions besides sales. And it was so inspiring what these people would do. One guy got up at 1 in the morning to go fix a lighting project in New York. He was back at 7 in the morning, and his colleague said, aren't you going to go down to New York to do that project? He goes, oh, I did it already, I'm back. And so people that go that extra mile, my challenge isn't a leadership challenge, but it's more engendering followership. How do you get people to follow and be as inspirational as some of those high achievers, and getting that to happen? I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. Thank you. Charles, let me ask you, do you think universities in particular, I know your university has been a great leader in the Worcester area since you've come into this area. Do you think universities in particular have a special obligation to contribute to the communities in which they reside?
No.
No. No. Okay. Thank you. Next.
Let me clarify that. You know, Worcester has 11 grade colleges and universities. 3 of them are public. Now, do they contribute to the community? Think about the things that they do. The medical school, Worcester State, Quinsigamond. Look at the economic benefit those institutions bring. And then there are 8 that are private. And out of the 8, you know, not all of them can contribute on a pilot, you know, and we're nonprofits. Our mission is to educate students, not to revitalize the city or support the city. And the city of Boston, right now, we've been in Boston for 190 years. And for 170 years, we never paid a dime on a pilot. But 20 years ago, we put a building up, and then you had to go into Article 80 and negotiate a pilot with the city. So that was the first time. Boston has changed that now, and every nonprofit in Boston has been asked to pay for 25% of the assessed value of their property. The museums, the community health centers, foundations, right down the line. And you know, it's voluntary, but it's embarrassing if you don't do it. However, the 25%, then you take the economic benefits. So we pay 12% because of the economic benefits in the neighborhood and the community and the things we do in the city of Boston. In Worcester, I'm paying 20%. So in Boston, I'm only paying 12%, and in Worcester, 20%. And we did that voluntarily because we are buying up buildings downtown Worcester. We're working with the city manager and the city to do a lot of things. They've been very helpful to help us to expand. And we opened in 2000, and we've been very successful. You know. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I'll stop there.
Thank you so much. Ranjan, let me ask you, because your company is very global, and you talked about, you know, some of the strides you've been making in some of the larger geographies. But what are some of the challenges of maintaining that sort of common company culture across those very vast geographies that you're doing business in now?
No, I think that's very true. I mean, Virtusa is a large global company. You know, we've got about 6,500 employees, you know, globally. And, you know, one of the more important things for us is, you know, continue to maintaining that core culture that we have, which really started from innovation, engineering, entrepreneurship, and how do we continue to maintain that going forward? As, you know, we continue to go into new geographies, we'll have local hires, we'll have international hires. How do we really continue to maintain that mix of it? So the leadership challenge for the business leaders is, you know, continue to maintain an environment that brings the best out of each and every employee. I mean, that's really, if you ask Chris, what is his job number one? I mean, that would be his job number one, is creating that environment that brings the best out of everybody in there. Creating an environment that continues to collaborate people, continue to foster a team environment, because the kind of work that we do, you know, we do these large, complex IT projects. It's not going to happen by individual heroism. It's going to happen because the team perform. So for us, collaboration, fostering an environment that everybody feels good about it and everybody can succeed, irrespective of the location, wherever you might reside in it.
Thank you. Dennis, I wonder if I could ask you what traits you look for when you're promoting your own employees to leadership positions?
Well, we're always looking for stars amongst the workforce, and sort of in a nutshell, we're looking for someone that's mission guided, value driven, and can sort of articulate, a vision for the team. That's what we look for.
Yeah, thank you. Philip, let me ask you, as your company's grown significantly recently, taking on some acquisitions, and with that, of course, comes some risks. So I wonder if you could just talk about some of the biggest risks that you faced during that sort of rapid expansion that you've taken on.
Yeah, definitely. The companies we acquire don't have a lot of assets. The people are the assets. So the biggest risk initially is that the people actually join the new company. So first of all, it's kind of black and white. Either they join or they don't. We want to do all we can to get them to join with a competitive offer. And then once they do join, it becomes more gray. How do you welcome them? Sometimes if you're acquired, maybe the acquired company might feel like they lost and we won because we acquired them. So you don't want to have any shame or any like one down kind of positions. You want to make people feel welcome right away. And then I do think, echoing a couple things that have been said, it's my job to inspire those people to give their best and their most best performance. And the way we're integrating people, I've got people on our top management team from the companies we acquired. It's all us. At the moment the paper's signed, it becomes an us, not a we and them. It's all of us in there together. So the challenge is first that digital, either they're on or they're off, and then how do you go from different shades of gray to get people to really understand how they fit in the new company, because our company got bigger, not only just number of employees, but in terms of solutions offered, geographic depth, where in the market we play, from the top space in the market all the way down to the mid-market. So it's not as if people are joining our thing. It's what we have plus what they bring creates a new thing, and it's all our thing. So to convey that and get people to understand that they're not intruders and not welcome, and they're outsiders in some way, to break that down as quickly as possible. And it takes a while because trust is not something just conferred immediately because you signed an agreement that says we bought you. This just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Thank you. Charles, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about MCPHS University's long-term strategy and what you want to be known for in particular.
Well, we're a concrete campus, like Boston, like Manchester, so we're a different type of university, and downtown is our campus. Currently, we have 1,200 students in 9 different degrees, and they're all in healthcare. We can only give degrees in healthcare. We're chartered by the legislature. We don't come under the Board of Higher Education. And in Boston, we have 50 different degrees, all in healthcare, and we brought 9 of those to Worcester. And that's where the action is. When I started 16 years ago, we had 1,000 students in Boston. Today we have 6,000 students in 3 cities, and they're all in healthcare. And the action is in healthcare, and that's why people like myself are still able to work at my age, because of all the technology and drugs that we have. But in Worcester, we're graduating 300 this May, but we're bringing in 600 this fall. So at this time next year, we'll have 1,500 students, and within 2 years, when optometry and physical therapy are completed, just with the programs that we have, we will have over 2,000 students in downtown Worcester. Many colleges and universities don't have 2,000 students, so that's a full-blown university. So our goal is to, we currently own 10 buildings downtown. We're paying full taxes on 3 of them. You can't take them off the tax rolls until you use them for college use. And as we fulfill that, we want a vibrant campus with over 2,000 students. We currently employ over 300 people at the school, and we've graduated 11 classes of Doctor of Pharmacy so far. Since we opened Worcester, and then I'll shut up, since we opened Worcester, 50 new schools of pharmacy have opened up in the United States. And the market is kind of saturated, so it's kind of good that we've diversified into these other health professions. So we have the 21st School of Optometry right down in beautiful downtown Worcester. And if any of you have seen it, it's really spectacular, the 21st School of Optometry. One of the benefits of the job is that I had my teeth cleaned in the Forsyth Dental School. I had physical therapy done on my knee from the PT department. I had my eyes examined and got the glasses at the school, if any of you are interested. And last but not least, I had a full body scan.
Wow, you have some great perks there.
And
I
a
answer your
great comedy writer.
I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, thank you. Dennis, I read some of the history of how you got into Alternatives Unlimited, and I'm very inspired by your story. But there must have been some disappointments and setbacks along the way, and I wonder if you might talk a little bit about some of those, and how you dealt with them on your path to leadership.
Are you going to be asking this question to the rest of the gentlemen? Yeah. No, I certainly have taken my bumps for 37 years as the executive director of Alternatives. In my younger years, I would get angry or defensive or both, but now that I've sort of settled in late adolescence, I'm much more reflective. But seriously, I mean, leaders need followers, and why people follow is because the leader hopefully has a mission, a vision, a set of values that they understand and buy into. I mean, I think that is absolutely critical. Probably the most challenging moment in my sort of executive directorship was just a year and a half ago. It's when a union came in and tried to organize the staff. And there's pros and cons to unions. I don't really want to get into it, although why a union would want to organize a nonprofit with a set budget, I'm not sure. But that's not why I'm telling the story. There we were humming along, thinking everything was fine, and suddenly the followers stopped following. And we really had to take a really, really hard look at ourselves. Was it that they weren't following, or was it that we were no longer leading? And we clearly had become disengaged. We're taking things for granted, and we did a lot of soul searching about that, and really tried to figure out, what was wrong and what we needed to change, and how we could be re-engaged and more responsive. And that was a very hard lesson to learn. The union eventually went away, and fortunately or unfortunately, I'm still learning.
Thank you very much. Ranjan, I was curious when I was reading about your company, Virtusa, and I was reading something about how you celebrate successes and learn from mistakes, and I was intrigued by that because I often talk about how you really do learn a significant amount from mistakes, and it's important to sort of admit the mistakes, figure out what you can learn from them, and move on, and it resonated with me when I was reading about your company, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that part of the culture in your company.
Oh, it's actually a really interesting question. It goes to the heart of our core values at Virtusa, which we believe are very important to us. That's really the fabric of running the company, and the core values, we call it the pursuit of excellence, integrity, respect, and leadership. And leadership at Virtusa is, as somebody said earlier on, it's a complex definition, but for us it's very simple, right? Leadership is you as a business leader take responsibility of failures and make sure you provide all the recognition and for the success to your team members. And we at Virtusa are always celebrating team members and team performance. We have quarterly excellence awards, which Chris makes an effort wherever he is in the world. He personally delivers them. We recognize that success. We celebrate that success at a team level. And we coach our business leaders to really learn from their failures, to really do an introspect. What could I have done when this situation was? What could I have done better? How could I have created a better environment? How could I have coached the people? How could I have done better to make sure that the result for my team was a better one? So leadership for us, so failure learning is all from the business leaders, coaching them to really force themselves to do an introspect. I can tell you a live example. This was a couple of weeks back, and we were going through an issue at an executive level, and we all mulled around that we didn't really do the best job. And this was like late night. Chris's direct reports, which are 5 of us, we all got an email from Chris, and Chris talking about, and he basically was saying the word "we" is kind of, we all have to take ownership that we really didn't do the right job at that level. We can't really force it down the leadership or down at a team level. It really all starts at our level. So it's a big thing at us. We celebrate team success all the time. We celebrate it day in and day out, and especially we to make it at a formality to do it at a quarterly level. But with regards to the learnings from our failures, we do that on a daily basis, by making sure we are doing introspect at each individual level.
Thank you. Philip, I wonder if you could talk about, as your company's expanding and you're going into different states, what you found to be an effective way to keep the communication sort of open and flowing between your employees and the changes that you've had to make.
Yeah, communication is so key, especially with a lot of new people, when the strategy's morphing because your capabilities are moving into different markets. I try to do quarterly, but more often than that, probably 8 times a year. I'm not sure how you say that, 8thly meeting. And then also the thing that we discovered really we started out in the basement of the old Worcester police station. There were 6 of us, and communication was very easy. Some of our first employees are here, where we brought in lunch every day, and we just talked about movies and stuff, but more or less it evolved to the work eventually, and everybody knew exactly what everybody was doing. Well, now that we have, I don't know how many offices we now have, 9 or 10 if you count home offices with salespeople, but we have 3 offices in Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, DC, and probably not as challenging as worldwide, but certainly it feels like a whole world of offices. And what we noticed is as we got bigger, there was a whole layer of new managers in the middle, and they're all off doing their own thing and very disconnected. And we just started about 6 or 7 months ago what I call a meeting of the mids. So we've had all the mid managers come together, and even though they're in different areas, and one's in efficiency and one's in procurement, one's in finance, and all in different areas, they all have some of the same common problems and some of the same things they want to learn. So bringing that group together, I think, is a critical communication layer, because it's harder for me to sit at that lunch table with 6 people and talk to everybody. I can do that in meetings and emails and that, and I try to get out to the offices. But having a conduit of the people on the street, in the cubes next to the staff, I can talk to the mids about what's going on at the corporate level and what messages I want to convey. I have a chance to listen, from what they're talking about. And also, then I say very directly, it's your job to tell your people what I'm telling you, because I want to make sure everybody understands from top to bottom. So it's an ongoing challenge, and it's maybe the toughest challenge in business.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you. Charles?
Go ahead.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Good. You talked a little bit about all the building you've been doing in Worcester, and you sort of compared, your presence in Boston, your presence in Worcester. Is there something in particular that you want to contribute to Worcester, or that you think you can help Worcester with as the presence that you have here?
Well, there's a lot of, we have a community benefits package that we do every year. In 13 years that we've been here, I think probably everyone in this room has been at our facilities where there's some functions. Just in the last 12 months, we had 66 events there. We never charge anyone. And we welcome them, and it's done the school a lot of good. We have our students go out and do community service. They pay tuition, and we've contracted with 55 different agencies, Worcester School System, the Salvation Army, the PIP Center, and this makes them better professionals. And we have a drug information resource center at the school. It's an 800 number you can call and find out about your medication. And they go out to the senior centers and talk to the seniors and do the brown bag medication checks. And I could go on and on and on. And looking at the podium there, who's sponsoring this event? 2 nonprofits, right? This past year, we spent over $110,000 given to different charities and other things in Worcester. So I think we contribute that way like most nonprofits do, and people forget all those things, the ice skating ring, the decorations downtown. So I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Technical difficulties here. I'm not sure if it's,
Okay.
Can I ask you, Dennis, what traits do you most admire in other leaders?
Well, there's 3 of them right here. I mean, a principled leader that truly helps somebody. That is not afraid to advocate for the people that he or she serves and go out on a limb. Has developed a culture within his or her organization that empowers the employees to a point that they are, take self-initiative and really go out there. Again, it is all about values and setting a very clear mission and vision for the organization and basically put your money where your mouth is. That it's not about pity, it's about a plan. And truly making a difference in somebody's life.
Thank you. So, Philip, you talked a little bit about the challenge of going from the COO to the CEO. And as you've taken on that new role, you knew the company well, but have you sensed any change in culture since you've taken on as CEO, just because there is a new person sort of at the helm, and because you've had so much growth lately? Have you seen any changes in culture as a result of those 2 things?
I don't want to have a self-promotional answer, so maybe we ought to poll our folks who are here to see what they think if there's been a change. But one of the things we've always stood for is community service. And we were doing a summer party at F1 in Braintree where you drive around the track in the go-karts. And I was in the sweaty suit and I was having a beer afterwards and I'm going, okay, we've burned fossil fuels and we're drinking alcohol. I mean, not that that's not fun. But so ever since then, we decided to do a day of community service for every day we have a company-sponsored party. So we've done that kind of thing. But the thing I think that I hope maybe my legacy or my imprint on the culture is really to something that you said, Ranjan, was how do you make each person feel that you can unlock their full potential? And I think it starts with valuing people. I mean, it just starts with thanking people. Just say, thank you, good job. I do handwritten notes. It's corny with a $100 gift card, but people get that, and I mail it to their house, not an inter-office mail, so that they get it. They get to open it in front of their family and go, wow, the CEO sent me a card. That kind of stuff doesn't cost a lot of money, but it goes a long way. And I think, if people feel valued, and I know you asked Dennis about pay scales and all that. Well, there's a classic Harvard Business School article that says, one more time, what motivates employees. And basically, money is kind of a hygiene factor. It's not a motivating factor. It's sort of table stakes. You've got to have it in the game. But what motivates people, what gets people to give their best self, their top performances, if they feel like they're doing something fulfilling. and if they feel valued in it and they're learning and growing. And I think if we can continue to provide an environment where there are growth opportunities for people who are acquired into the company to take on leadership roles, for people who we've recruited out of the Worcester schools who grow up with us and take on director and VP level roles. If you can keep that kind of culture and atmosphere going, I think you can really have a winning enterprise.
Thank you. So I wonder if we could open this up to questions from the audience, because I feel like, I've learned so much through my questions, but these were just questions that I had, things I was interested in, and I know that there are other people in the audience who likewise would have some questions of our esteemed leaders. So I wonder if we could do that now, and I think we had a mic, that we might need a mic. Did we have a handheld mic? No? Okay. All right. We can get the questions up here. So are there questions from the audience? Yes.
Hi there. My name's Flo Lucci. I'm with Quinsigamond Community College. I'm on the faculty, and I'm interested in the nonprofits specifically. I've seen some studies where we have a lot of employee benefits that are being shifted to nonprofits, where an employee who, had a single plan now goes to the family plan because of the cost of benefits, and that the nonprofits are offering higher benefits. Has that been an issue with your institutions, where you're seeing many more employees jump to family plans, and how much has that impacted your budgets? No?
Is that for you or for me?
It has not impacted our budget a lot. It's certainly one of the things that we do offer, though. We do offer, a very good benefit package, individual as well as family.
But I mean, have you seen a shift in the last 3 or 4 years, where you're having a lot more individuals, instead of a married couple having 2 separate plans? One of them works for a for-profit, the other one works for your nonprofit, shift their entire family onto your benefits plan, therefore increasing your costs?
My HR director says,
No?
thank you. Great question.
Other questions? Yeah, Deanna?
Can you hear me? I'm just interested to know if any of you have any interesting stories about risk taking.
Repeat the question.
If any of you have any stories about risk-taking.
Well, it's all about risk-taking, so.
Right. And that's business. If there weren't risks, there wouldn't be rewards, right? And certainly making 3 acquisitions in an 8-week period is pretty risky. I think there's still lashes on the back of our finance department from all the audits they've had to do and all the hard work they've done. I mean, it's all a risk. And if you buy a company, will the employees come over, and will it work as well as you thought? And is the strategy of going from just procuring energy to adding energy efficiency actually compelling to customers or not? You can do surveys, you can look at anecdotes, but at some point, if it wasn't risky, it wouldn't be business.
I guess maybe a follow-on question to that is, how do you get your employees to take the right kinds of risks? Because I imagine you want them to take some risks so that you can keep growing and keep moving forward. But there are good kinds of risks and not so good kinds of risks. And so are there ways that you either motivate, or maybe it's through sort of training and communication about what are the appropriate types of risks to take?
Well, one of the pieces that Virtu said really goes back to the core value piece, right? One of the pieces is we don't want anybody to feel like they can't really take a risk. Right? We want those risks to be educated risks. We will make mistakes as a company, but we will grow out of those risks. We will become better. So it's distilling that entrepreneurial piece down all the way down from a fresh campus graduate. Yes, you can take it. We want to create that environment, but we will create a harness net for you. So you take a risk, you won't fall apart, your team won't fall apart, the company won't fall apart. That harnessing the risk, that's the job of the leader. But having the employee base feel you can take an educated risk, as we want to foster that culture, because that's how we will grow. When we are a small company in a very big market, we're not going to catch up to the big players unless and until we are not willing to take some educated risks, and unless and until we are not willing to continue to be an entrepreneur.
Hi, I'm Mary Dortel from Anna Maria. I'm just wondering, what do you see as the greatest challenges in the next few years as leaders, particularly in light of the changing economics and politics and globalization going on?
Well, that's a big topic. We could start with global warming, maybe, and the survivability of our planet. This is one big thing. Maybe that's not in the next few years, but I think.
Broader than what I
Yeah, I figured as much. We're lucky at World Energy. We're in a growing market. I mean, energy is healthcare is certainly one big market. IT is another big one, and energy is the insatiable appetite for energy and devices and all that. So we're a little bit buffered from the ups and downs of the economy. In fact, when the economy went off the cliff in 2008, it was very beneficial for us because people looked towards cost-cutting approaches, and we have a very effective way to reduce the cost of energy. So I think our company particularly that helps our clients save money will kind of always be in fashion. So we're not as buffeted by the vagaries of the economy as some other companies might be.
Yeah, no, I agree with Philip. In our business, the mix of type of business that you get, that actually changes a little bit with how the environment around is. When the economy is really not doing that great, like you said, the clients are all really talking about, help me just reduce my total cost of ownership of my IT infrastructure. That's a big piece of the influx of the work that comes back to you. When the economy starts to do a little bit better, then discretionary type of work starts to come back to you. That's when you start to develop the net deposits feature. You wouldn't have developed that back in 2010 when JPMC was having economic issues. When they have a little bit more discretionary funding, they want to do more discretionary, more transformational work. So the mix of business will change, and I think I agree. I mean, on this panel, it looks like one of the things that people did was representing markets that are growing. I mean, energy is growing, IT is growing, healthcare is growing. I mean, these are all growing markets. So we got to have our focus on execution.
And in our school, the biggest risk right now are clinical sites. In the last year of pharmacy, they're not in the school at all. They're doing 6 5-week clinical rotations, and getting these clinical sites is getting more and more difficult. We have 6 new pharmacy schools in New England, 9 new physician assistance programs are opening up in New England, and so on and so forth. And of course, the hospitals are being cut by their Medicaid and reimbursement, so that's a big financial hit, and they don't have time to train students. And then they have all the pressures from these other schools. Physician assistants, they actually have 9 clinical rotations in their last year. And they have to be in women's health, pediatric, they're not just 9, And they go all over New England to get this. So healthcare today, with all the changes with the current administration and the cutbacks, and you can, it has affected the college.
Our biggest challenge has to do with hiring staff. As I mentioned, we haven't had a rate increase for over 20 years, and the legislature passed 4 years ago, not to bore you, Chapter 257, which was to finally develop a rate-setting system that would give us a just rate for the work that we do. Staff now, that they love their work, but most of them have to work 2 jobs to even survive. So the governor this year has finally put some money in to fund Chapter 257. Of course, he's asking for a 1% increase, or as my Republican chair of the board says, a 20% increase. And again, so Human Service is now advocating for income tax increase. So it's a dilemma for us.
Thank you. One more question? Yes, please.
So you're all in the Worcester business area, the market, and it's had some significant challenges in the past. What's kept your companies here, and what is the advantage of being in the Worcester market area, and how do we attract more companies like yourselves? What keeps you here, and how do we retain and attract more and better employees to this area?
Well, I'd say Worcester's a hidden gem, to be honest with you. Really, it's an amazing place. I think I have the nicest office in Worcester, and it's $20 a square foot. You get that office in Boston, and it's $75 a square foot, and $150 in New York. So, there's a cost aspect to Worcester that's very compelling. It's a vibrant city. It's the second biggest city in New England still, I think. And the great thing is the colleges and the universities that are around. It's an unbelievable source of talent. We have a lot of our positions are data-oriented and nice entry-level positions where you can put a fence around the risk a young person would take, but still can have a job that expands. And we've had great success recruiting out of the local colleges, and then having those people stay here because it's a nice place to live. The traffic isn't so bad. There's restaurants, there's concerts, there's golf courses, and it's just really, I think it needs better PR, but I think Worcester is really quite the place to work.
If we're going to put a building up in Boston, it takes 2 years and $2 million worth of consultants going through all the neighborhoods and everything else, and the BRA and the zoning. And Worcester, to get the permits takes you at least 2 years. We've been through it 3 times. We can get the permits very quickly here from the administration, and it's a very easy place to do business, downtown Worcester.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank you so much for this conversation. I learned something about reading the profiles, but I learned so much more just by having this conversation, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyways, let's get right into the awards part. And we have at the Worcester Business Journal, we're focused on being a multimedia company, and that means having some, we're online, we're in print, and we have a full-time videographer, Matt Volpini, who joined us several months ago. And so we've actually created some short videos where we've not only interviewed those winners, but some other folks from their organizations to get a little bit rounder sense. They're only 2.5 minutes, but that's going to be part of this presentation, and then we'll hear from each winner. So, first on the list, World Energy Solutions. World Energy Solutions is in the category of small business. Let me just look over and make sure that's the slide that's up. It is, good. Is in the category of small business winner, but they're clearly in the process of outgrowing that designation. In fact, if it's up to Phil Adams, World Energy will be back on our list of superbly run companies in the large company category pretty soon. Last summer, with company founder Richard Domalewski leaving the company, Phil was the board's natural choice for taking over as CEO. What a solid choice that has been. Not only did Phil have the respect of and the working relationship with current staff, but he had already been executing on his vision for building a more integrated energy services company that could deliver one-stop shopping to mid-market companies that was not available from any of his more narrowly focused competitors.
I got my MBA at MIT, and I came in through a board member. He knew me, and he called me in to do a consulting project to put the investor, pitch document together, basically. And apparently I did a pretty good job on that, because I'm still here.
Phil's been at the helm of this, as the CEO for the past 6 months, and as COO and president for 10 years before that, and really the driving force behind the company.
Phil's a go-getter. He knows what he wants, he helps people see what that's all about, and he helps us as a team make it happen.
He's the one that really directs where the employees go. The employees follow his lead, his actions, his words, and he really drives the organization.
I think employees need to know how what they do every day impacts the company. And we do a really good job here through Phil's leadership of connecting the company goals to what we do every day.
There's got to be a lot of credit given to the people at this company. I'm only here talking to you because of them more than anything.
He's a really smart guy and a great leader, and he kind of packages it all together. And is kind of that visionary, that prolific leader that can get up and talk to a group of people and really get them motivated and drive them forward.
He knows how to connect ideas. He's very bifocal, strategic and tactical, and then brings ideas to people and helps them figure out how to implement them.
I always had a very strong sense of responsibility. It's like, this is on me, and I've got 125 families depending on, this thing going well. There's a real sense of it's on you, and let's go.
I think when you look at what makes for a good leader, Phil has all the key ingredients. He's got a lot of vision for where world energy should be going, and he knows how to connect that vision to execution and people, and really knows how to make it happen.
It's true. So, for driving annual revenues to new highs, for delivering profitable growth in its core business, for having the vision to build out its suite of client services while expanding its geographic footprint through aggressive strategic acquisitions, for upgrading and expanding its corporate headquarters in downtown Worcester, and for its passion to deliver value and savings to its growing list of customers, please recognize our Business Leader of the Year in the Small Business Entrepreneur category, World Energy Solutions of Worcester's CEO, Phil Adams. I think we're going to do one strip and grin right here.
I'd like to thank the Academy. As I said in the video, I'm here on the strength and the support of 125 employees who work tirelessly day in and day out, many of whom are over here. And a lot of credit goes to that group of folks with us here today and across the country and our company. Part of what drives people when I was at that President's Club trip, there's a sense that it's either in you or it isn't. It's how you're raised and the values that you're brought up with. And I think the person deserving the most credit for that probably is the proudest woman in Worcester today, my mother, who's here with us today. You got to know where your roots are. And Mom, I think she's the first environmentalist. She always said, leave things the way you found them, which is probably a pretty good way to go. And of course, I'd like to thank my family for being here as well. My wife, Ann, my children, my sister, brother-in-law, cousin, all very supportive. And thank the Worcester Business Journal for this incredible honor. So thank you very much.
Okay. What does it take to build your company from a small startup in 1994 to a robust public company doing over $275 million in annual revenues, employing some 6,500 people worldwide, which was recently recognized as one of Forbes magazine's 100 best companies to work for under $1 billion in revenue? Well, it takes passion, an intense commitment, a Larry Bird-like that was early. A Larry Bird-like vision of the court or the playing field, and knowing where things are headed before the crowd, your competitors, or your customers can see with any clarity. Chris Kanakaratne's sharp engineering mind, mixed with his entrepreneurial business acumen, created a potent mix, and his vision for how Virtusa could bring unique value to its customers through a holistic approach to platform design has delivered spectacular results. Let's hear from Chris and the Virtusa team on some of the key elements in their success.
I come from a family that's generally very entrepreneurial. So I always had a desire to be able to do something that was entrepreneurial. I thoroughly enjoyed the process of getting Virtusa off the ground.
Chris has done some extraordinary things in his life, but I think one of the fundamentals is really having someone that really can link what you think to what you do.
He has this, almost a sixth sense, or this intuition of when there are opportunities and how to seize the opportunities before they happen.
Leadership at Virtusa is a very, very interesting and a very important part of our core values. And it has to do with who we are.
He empowers his team to solve for problems and solve for execution. And by doing that, he's created a performance culture, which is pervasive throughout the globe and through all ranks of employees.
He cultivates an attitude for himself and for his team that is constantly on mark with the purpose for the company.
We've done a very good job creating an ecosystem at Virtusa that preserves innovation and a leadership quality at Virtusa that really helps promote and optimize innovation within our team members.
He's created this environment with himself and his leadership team to look inwardly when there are challenges, and when things are going well, to give credit to the team, and has built this fabulous team culture.
Leaders at Virtusa are those that when things go well, will ascribe all success to their team members. And when things don't go that well, they'll take a long, hard look in the mirror and look at themselves deeply and ask, what could I have done differently to have averted this problem?
He's very strong in building a great leadership team and expecting those leadership members of his to build the same capabilities throughout the organization, wherever our employees are worldwide.
We were able to harness the power of that powerful personality to be able to drive, I think, loyalty and performance of our people just based on his example.
The skills of a company founder often don't translate to the professional management skills needed to run a large, sophisticated organization. But Chris Kanakaratne is a shining example of a leader that can accomplish both. In the category of large business and getting larger each quarter, please recognize, as we recognize Chairman and CEO of Virtusa Corp of Westborough, Chris Kanakaratne, and I want to give a special thanks to Rajan Kalia, who did a terrific job of channeling Chris up here on the panel and really giving us clearly a deep sense of the company, its values, and I thought you did a terrific job, and Rajan is going to accept this award on behalf of Chris and Virtusa. Rajan. Turn around for a photo shoot. Thank you.
I'm honored to receive this prestigious award from the Worcester Business Journal on behalf of our chairman and CEO, Chris Kanakaratne. This is not only a testament to exemplary leadership by Chris as he led Virtusa through kind of humble beginnings that we just learned about 16 years ago to really developing us as a leading edge IT services company. But it's also a validation of the efforts of all the teams and our 6,000 employees and growing. We at Virtusa are delighted to be associated with the award and are proud to be part of the Central Massachusetts business community and contributing to the economic development. Chris's vision when he started the company was to leverage innovation and engineering capabilities to solve complex business problems by using a global delivery model. Today, we do complex IT projects for Global 2000 companies, range from maintaining complex IT infrastructure for them to developing technologies from them that solve their business problems. Knowing Chris, he's not going to set his eyes right here. He wants to take Virtusa to be a billion-dollar company. In my capacity as a CFO, I work closely with Chris and I have the opportunity to experience his working style. Chris is a high-energy leader who believes in leading by example and setting high standards for himself and for the others. In closing, I want to thank the Worcester Business Journal for their recognition of Chris Kanakaratne and a validation of the efforts of all the employees of Virtusa. Thank you very much.
Okay. And next, hey, that looks like Dennis Rice up there on the screen. It's one thing to have some creative ideas about how your fledgling organization can make a difference in the lives of formerly institutionalized individuals in the 1970s. But it's a whole different skill to be able to build a leadership team and grow that organization to one that employs over 700 people and offers a vast array of services that connects thousands of its clients with the communities they serve. For 37 years, that work has been the passion of Dennis Rice, and the Alternatives of Today stands as a testimony not only to his hard work, but his creativity and his vision of a new paradigm for how developmentally and psychologically disabled people can improve their lives. Let's hear from Dennis and from a couple other alternatives, folks from the Alternatives team on how they see Dennis Rice.
It was during the Vietnam War, and I was a conscientious objector. And when you're a conscientious objector, you have to work 2 years alternative service. And so where I worked was in a psych hospital. And one of the things I noticed, though, is that people would come in with, being, quite ill and would then leave, but they would end up right back into the hospital because there was no services in the community to support them. And sort of from that experience, I then thought about, well, what we need is more community services, and so that's what I did.
Dennis has done a great job as the executive director. He's been with the organization for over 30 years. He has over 750 employees, and he continues to do a great job year in and year out.
Dennis Rice deserves to win this award because he's always been a very visionary guy.
I think his leadership style is one where he's more of a gatherer of information, and once he has all the facts, he'll make the decision. And it has proven to be the right decision on a lot of things.
We are what I would call a learning organization. That we're always looking for ways, new initiatives that can help the people that we serve.
He's never satisfied that whatever he's doing today is going to necessarily work tomorrow, and he's willing to accept new ideas and try new things to make the agency a better place.
He allows you to think outside the box, to try to come up with a solution, but at the same time, he really wants to understand what the problem is, and he wants a solution to it as much as you do.
He is extremely loyal to the people that work with him. He's very, very supportive.
He has to make sure that the organization is recognized for what it is, and the employees are recognized for the work that they do. He's a great individual, and he's all about others, not himself.
We certainly have a strong sense of values that we manage by, and a very clear mission and vision for people to go by.
If you met with him and talked with him, you'd see that he really is an advocate for them, for people served, and that the first thing he'll tell you is what he's trying to do for each individual is have a real home, real job, and real relationships.
Alternatives has been very, very fortunate to have the visionary kind of leader that they've got in Dennis Rice.
For driving his organization's growth and success, for developing programs that have been transformational in improving their clients' lives, for creating a village at their Whitensville headquarters that truly integrates the community with alternatives and vice versa, please recognize the co-founder and executive director of Alternatives, Dennis Rice. We need to do a grip and grin here. We need to do a grip and grin. I'm okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Bob and Scott. Bob, Scott, where's Bob? Thank you. I'd also like to thank everyone at the Worcester Business Journal for this great honor. I'd also like to thank Harry Whiten. Where's Harry? Is Harry here? He nominated me, so thank you, Harry. Also like to thank my wife Kelly and my daughter. She's only 5, but she loves these events. Quinlan Elfrida Rice. So thanks for being here. You know, I'm always amazed with these videos where they take a rambling sort of interview and then make you look or sound at least, you know, halfway intelligent. You know, it looked like doo-doo, but, you know, it sounded good, so thank you for that. But as we all know, it is a team effort. None of this would have been possible without the resilience of the individuals that we serve, the committed, hardworking, competent staff that we have, and also very important, an accepting community that provides opportunities for the people we serve, as Bob said, to have a real home, to have a real job, to have a real relationship that they deserve. And that said, there's so much more to do. So if any of you in the audience, and I'm serious here, if any of you in the audience have some ideas of how we can increase those opportunities for the people we serve, I will be situated near the bar for the rest of the evening, and I would love to hear from you. So again, it's a great honor, and thank you so much.
You know, despite my trip and fall moment, I haven't even been to the bar yet. So anyways, I just, as our partner in creating and awarding the next division, which is our corporate citizen, Catherine Yusoff is going to come up and make that presentation. But I just want to say, just make one note for those who've been familiar with the Business Journal over the years. We started in 1990, so we've had this award for 23 years. At one point, it was just one business leader, and we've expanded it to these categories we have today. And in that 23-year period, one other college president has won this award, and that was in 1992. Clark University's Dick Traynor was the winner. So I think it's appropriate that a leader from Clark is able to give this recognition to MCPHS University. It feels a little bit like sort of don't putting the green jacket on him. Charlie, are you a 40 regular? What is the, we'll have a little master's moment for you. So anyways, Catherine, if you're ready to give this award, okay.
So we all know that Worcester is a college town and that each of the colleges and universities contributes to and benefits from its community. It's hard to believe, though, that one institution that has done much to transform the city's downtown in the last decade didn't open its first campus building here until the year 2000. And what a 12-year run it has been. As of this September, the Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, otherwise known as MCPHS University, will offer 9 different degrees on its thriving Worcester campus. In a city that has had its struggles attracting private investment, $350 million and counting, we hope there's more to come, that MCPHS has invested in purchasing and completely renovating a variety of downtown buildings into labs, classrooms, and housing has been a priceless investment. Let's watch this video on the school.
We are a nonprofit, we're an academic institution, and I think as an academic institution, to get an award like this is very important. We open up our facilities to nonprofits and other community groups, and we've never charged anyone.
All the causes that they give to, the social service programs and others, they're providing to those of low income or little means to be able to get these professional services.
In our pharmacy program, one of the requirements is service learning, where they go out for a part of a semester, and we have contracts with over 50 local agencies.
The service learning program here is really quite extensive. It includes approximately 350 students an academic year.
And the students actually go out and spend time here and pay tuition to go there because this makes them better professionals when they're out in the practice.
Clearly, they have a deep care for our community. They want to see us succeed, and they know their success is ours and vice versa. So they're really ingrained in all we do.
The way that it benefits the community is huge. It's actually turned out to be quite a cornerstone of our programs because the students do work and service in a number of different institutions across nonprofit organizations.
The reality of what they're doing is helping breathe life into our community and set the table for the next 100 years of success.
I think it's very integral that people are connected to their community and that they have a sense of civic responsibility.
You couldn't have picked a finer institution that really does understand community, that works side by side with you, hard work, roll up your sleeves work to make very difficult challenges become reality.
It's exciting for the university, who's been engaged for so many years in creating this kind of very basic mission for our university, that community outreach is a pillar for our organization, and it's very integral in terms of the students and their educational pathways.
To Charlie and to the Mass College of Pharmacy, thank you, and to everything that they've done for our community and what it's meant to our community. There's only one word to sum it up. It's priceless.
For their extraordinary and ongoing investment in the City of Worcester and their service learning program, which has 350 students delivering free pharmacy and dental services through dozens of nonprofit community partners on an annual basis. Please recognize MCPHS University and the leader who has been in the driver's seat for this period of great expansion and success at the school, its president, Charlie Monahan.
Thank you, Catherine. I want to thank the Business Journal for this award. This is a great job. I get all the awards, and my 4 vice presidents are here that help me run the 3 campuses, and they do all the work. I just come up with the ideas. And of course, I have a wife of 50 years, and she told me 10 times today, keep it short, so I did that. And Peter, if you need some therapy tomorrow, come down. You'll be a subject, not a patient, so we can get away with that. Again, thank you, and we appreciate it. Just one last thing, everyone thanks me and the college for what we've done downtown Worcester, but we want to thank Worcester. Worcester is a great place to do business. Between our academic institutions, our biotechnology, our clinical sites, and the medical, and the foundations who have been very generous to us, you can't miss. So I want to thank all of them too. Thank you.
I can barely get up the steps, and these guys are jumping right off the stage. Anyways, they gave me 3 minutes for closing remarks. I'm going to take 30 seconds. A special congratulations, and a thank you to all our winners for sharing their wisdom and for their achievements of this past year and many years beyond that. A special thanks to Clark University's Graduate School of Management for their support, their long-term support for this awards program, and to our supporting sponsor, Fallon Community Health Plan, for their support on this event. We couldn't do it without you. Special thank you to the Beechwood Hotel, our hosts, Curry Printing, Elevation Exhibits, who have several staff here running around and making this, this event sort of come off smoothly up here on the stage. Revelation Productions did that. Elevation Exhibits, we're also thanking. And then Ron Boulay Photography. So anyways, that's it. Magically, as I'm going to call for those doors to open. I'm sure they won't right now, but they will shortly. And we'll end up in a reception right in there. Thank you again all for coming. We've reached the end. Congratulations.